Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Al-Jumuah Magazine, Volume 24, Issue 1112, the Al-Qa'dah, Dhul Hijjah, 1433 Hijri. Counsel and Comment. Fourth in a four-part series, The Fires of Marriage, The Fire of Sex, Olivia Compierre. Sex in Context. So far, we've covered three of the four fires of marriage in our series. As a refresher, those are the fires of time management, household duties, and family, parents, and in-laws. We've come to the last and final fire or conflict, to which all of other fires are closely related, the fire of sex. I have struggled to find a subtler term to use for this writing. Most would suggest the term intimacy, but we will also discuss intimacy and how it is actually not an accurate euphemism for sex. We could say conjugal or marital relations, but I also don't want to apply a term that is too broad or vague. So straightforward it is, and apologies to anyone uncomfortable with this in this forum. You may be wondering how things like dealing with time, family, and housework are related to what goes on in the bedroom, but they are. In fact, every aspect of our marriage correlates to what happens there. This is because a couple's sex life is a direct reflection of how well or how poorly everything else is going. Couples who are having regular conflicts about in-laws time or who does what at home are not going to be having intimate, passionate, are not going to be having intimate, passionate sex. Describing sex that way may sound like a pipe dream to a lot of couples. After all, we've all been told that such sex is only a once in a lifetime phenomena during the honeymoon phase, when just the novelty of doing it is enough to make it seem great. But once a couple matures and gets used to each other, passion goes from something of a hot summer wind to a cool autumn breeze, and that's just the way it goes. So enjoy that first year, because it's never coming back. The good news is that simply isn't true. Couples can make the choice to have passionate, connected sex at any age and stage of marriage. The hard part is they have to work on the rest of their marriage first. Many of us have resigned ourselves to certain conflicts with our spouses, ongoing battles that we're always reloading our ammo for, or perhaps we just nurture the bitter seed of resentment, and one way we punish our partner for being lazy or a nag is by withholding or acting indifferent about sex. Sometimes it's like doing it becomes a sadaqah, full stop. Sometimes it's like doing it becomes a sadaqah, full stop, like the interested partner is some needy beggar. Let's be honest, a lot of the time we just take the fiqh approach and a wife will do it for him so that she's not sinful. Couples can lapse into this kind of attitude for a lifetime. Actually, I will venture saying that most do this eventually. Going deep. Writing on the previous fires, I alluded to the notion that if men did more housework and stopped acting like it was a favor but a true responsibility, they would be surprised at how much more forthcoming their wives might be between the sheets. This is because sex is not just a mere physical performance, though it is part of our nature to desire the physical pleasure of it. It is also an emotional connection, one that should be full of the deepest love. When a couple feels this appreciation and love for one another, sex becomes the expression of it, and that's what takes it from mediocre to outstanding. That is intimate sex, which in fact is the deepest intimacy Allah has made available to us. It is that magical sex that every couple craves, but most don't know how to achieve. Most couples have emotionally disconnected sex. They have sex just for the pleasure, or for one person's pleasure, or just for the sake of doing it. Couples who have a conflict in the bedroom, boring, frustrating, or dispassionate sex, they need to look outside of the bedroom first. There is definitely credence to understanding your spouse's preferences and dislikes, but for most people, this is only part of the problem, if a problem at all. The real rub is that most people lack intimacy throughout the rest of the day. They may only speak to each other in passing, or worse, nag or belittle each other when they do speak. They feel frustrated with each other and argue about time, family, and the house. If you ask such a husband and wife during the daylight hours if they felt passionate about each other, they might say they feel passionately angry, passionately resentful, but that's about it. If they can't fathom reaching out and intimately connecting while they converse or eat dinner or clean the house, there is no way their dead passion is going to be suddenly resurrected in the bedroom. It just won't happen. Put out the fire, kindle the heart. The first way to cool the sex conflict is to cool all the others. Reach out and authentically represent yourself to your spouse rather than be angry or passive aggressive. This is better than championing your spouse to do what you are not doing, namely reaching out and authentically representing yourself. True listening is also intimacy, and that is the first step upon the way of finding intimacy naturally in the bedroom. When we genuinely listen and express, uh, we are communicating that we truly want to better our relationship and we want our spouse's input. We want to make things better together. It's not about getting our way in the moment or being right or any other sort of short term personal gain. That's immature. Only mature couples can experience deeply intimate and passionate sex. Sex, it is the fruit from the tree we have spent the rest of the day nurturing. That's immature. Only mature couples can experience deeply intimate and passionate sex. It is the fruit from the tree we have spent the rest of the day nurturing. If the tree is neglected or decaying through the day, it won't bear any fruit at night or any time at all. Tell it like it is. Genuine listening and expressing our skills. You don't want to abandon at the bedroom door. We also have to authentically represent ourselves and listen to our spouse during the especially intimate time of sex. This doesn't just mean honoring preferences or dislikes. It is also sharing what we most want out of this experience. This may mean openly discussing positions, visions, attire, or things we may want to do but are afraid our spouse may reject. Many couples settle for boring in the bedroom because it's safe. During this most intimate time, we don't want to suggest something we fear will repulse our spouse or cause them to question our moral integrity. But just as during the honeymoon phase sex was exciting because it was something we knew and different, we ought to continue to apply these elements to our sex life so that it doesn't become just a routine. Now for the hard part, making a change or suggestion doesn't start with your spouse. Expression begins with you. So you don't try out your new intimacy by asking your spouse what your spouse thinks would be fun or interesting. You be first to make a bold suggestion, even if you feel some trepidation. And of course, if this is something you're not used to doing, you surely will. Remember, intimacy starts with an I. Taking this I step makes us vulnerable. We risk having our partner reject or embarrass us. So, by taking this step, we are also communicating a very intimate message. I trust you and you're worth the risk. If I were to give one reminder regarding all the conflicts of marriage, it is this: focus on yourself. There is always room for self improvement, and when you improve yourself, you automatically improve your relationships. Even if your spouse doesn't change, at least you did. You made the choice to live according to principle, not a quid pro cause. Not quid pro cause. I pray, inshallah, that all of us are blessed with the kind of intimate marriages that are fruitful in all good ways, and that Allah grants us the maturity and the strength of character to better ourselves every day. Ameen. Alhamdulillah.